Welcome back to another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. As we are approaching spring and I cannot be more ready for spring, I thought today, why not diving into a topic that aligns with that energy of spring, reinvention. Just as nature is about to bloom and grow and shred the old, this is an invitation for us to do the same. If you've been feeling stuck, uninspired, or simply ready for a fresh start, this episode is for you. Because here's the truth. Reinvention isn't about waiting for the perfect time. It's about choosing to start fresh right here, right now. Welcome to the Leading Yourself podcast. This is your host, Carolina de Arriba. I'm an HR professional, health and fitness coach, wife, mom, and above all things, a goal-getter. In this podcast, we're going to be digging into all things leadership, professional and career development, habits, and relationships. This is a podcast for those who want to become the best version of themselves. Those who have big dreams and are willing to embrace the journey and put in the work to achieve them. My goal is to share with you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you in your journey. So let's dig into today's episode. Spring is a season of renewal, of transformation, and fresh energy. It's a time when nature wakes up from the stillness of winter and bursting with new life and endless possibilities. And just like the world around us, we too can embrace this season as an opportunity for personal reinvention. Think about this. Nature doesn't resist change. It welcomes it. The trees don't cling the last season's leaves. Flowers don't hesitate to bloom. Everything in nature moves forward, grows, and adapts. What if we approach our own lives in the same way? What if we allow ourselves to shred the old and make space for the new? Reinvention doesn't mean throwing everything away and starting over. It's about refreshing and refining and realigning. It's about making intentional choices that move you closer to the person that you want to become. And the beauty of spring is that it naturally supports this process. Longer days, more sunshine, and an overall sense of renewal that makes it easier to take action. So ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Where in my life do I feel stagnant? What is one small way I can embrace this season of growth and transformation? Because here's the truth. You don't have to wait for the perfect time to start fresh. The perfect timing is right now. Reinvention is a word that can feel exciting yet intimidating. We often think of it as some drastic transformation, quitting a job, moving to a new city, overhauling our entire lifestyle. And because that feels overwhelming, we put it off. But reinvention doesn't have to be all or nothing process. Think about spring. It doesn't arrive all at once. First, the days get a little longer. Then the tiny buds start to appear on the trees. Then the air feels different. The flowers don't bloom overnight. They open slowly, one petal at a time. Your personal reinvention can be the same. It's all about small, consistent changes that over time lead to a completely new season of your life. So it's important to let go of the idea that reinvention has to be drastic. One of the biggest things that hold people back is thinking that change has to be massive to matter. But true reinvention happens in the small shifts. If you want to reinvent your health, it's not about suddenly working out 2 hours a day and eat perfectly every single day. It's about choosing to move more, eat better, and stay consistent. If you want to change careers, you don't have to quit everything overnight. You can start learning, networking, and exploring new opportunities step by step. If you want to change your mindset, you don't need to become a completely different person tomorrow. You can start by challenging negative thoughts and choosing new beliefs. So ask yourself, what is one small intentional shift that you can make today that will bring you closer to the version of yourself that you want to become? Also, I think it's important to acknowledge that you're not starting from zero. One of the most common fears around reinvention is feeling like we have to start over. But you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Everything you've been through, your struggles, your wins, your lessons, the setbacks, all of it has prepared you for what is next. Think about a tree in the winter. Just because it loses its leaves doesn't mean it's dead. Beneath the surface, its roots have grown deeper. It has been storing energy, preparing for the spring, and the same is true for you. Even if you feel stuck or uncertain, everything you've learned and experienced is part of your foundation, the foundation for what is to come next. So ask yourself, instead of focusing on what you lack, how can you recognize what you already have that can help you in the next chapter? Another thing to keep in mind as we think about personal transformation is that failure isn't the end, it's feedback. Fear of failure is one of the biggest things that stop people when pursuing reinvention. We don't want to get it wrong, so we don't try it at all. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's just part of it. Some of the most successful reinventions have happened because someone was willing to try, fail, and adapt. We talked about some of these people on a previous episode when I was talking about mindset shift. But think about Oprah. She was fired of her first TV job before becoming one of the most influential women in media. Or Sarah Blakely, we also talked about her recently. She's the founder of Spanx. She talks about how her dad used to ask her at dinner, "What did you fail at today?" Because he knew failure was part of growth. So ask yourself, what if you stop fearing failure and you start seeing it as part of the learning process? What if instead of thinking, "What if I fail?" you ask, "What if I grow in ways that I never imagined?" Another thing to keep in mind as we talk about transformation is to adopt a "why not me" mindset. Too often, we see others reinvent themselves, switching careers, writing books, transforming their health, starting businesses, and we think that's great for them. But what if instead of saying that's great for them, we ask, "Why not me?" The people who successfully reinvent themselves aren't necessarily more talented, more educated, or luckier than you. They just believe they could. Think about it. Someone out there is doing exactly what you want to do. And it's not because they were more prepared than you, but because they decided to go for it. So ask yourself, what's stopping you from believing that you too can step into something new? Reinvention isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's about choosing to believe in yourself, taking small steps, and being open for growth. Spring is proof that change is beautiful, that growth is natural, and that transformation is always possible. So as we step into spring, I encourage to ask yourself, what do you want to grow into this season? What is a small shift that you can make today? And what if you embrace the idea that you're not starting over, but starting from experience? The next version of yourself is already inside you, waiting to bloom. Reinvention isn't about waking up one day and deciding that you're all of a sudden are going to be someone completely different. It's about evolution. It's about shredding all layers, embracing new possibilities, and growing into the person that you're meant to be. Just like spring unfolds gradually, first with small buds and then vibrant blossoms, your reinvention is a process that requires intention, patience, and action. And here's how you can take tangible steps towards renewal and reinvention this season. First, clear out the old and make space for growth. Spring cleaning isn't just for your home. It's a mindset shift. Just like we declutter clothes, we need to declutter our lives, making space for what aligns with our future selves. Think about it. What are you holding onto that no longer serves you? Maybe it's limiting beliefs. Are you carrying thoughts that like, "I'm not good enough, I'm too old, and will never be successful"? These beliefs shape your actions, and maybe it's time to let them go. You might be holding into unhelpful habits. Maybe it's procrastination or self-doubt or overcommitting or saying yes to things that drain you. Maybe you're holding to toxic relationships. Who in your life makes you question your worth or holds you back from stepping into your power? Or maybe is stale routines. Are you stuck in patterns that no longer inspire or energize you? Identify one thing, whether it's a belief, a habit, a relationship, a routine that is holding you back. Make a conscious choice to release it in this season. Write it down, say it out loud, and let it go. The next step is to get clear on your next chapter and define your reinvention. Reinvention begins with clarity. What are you stepping into? Who do you want to become? This is your chance to set a vision for your next chapter. So ask yourself questions like this. What excites me right now? Is it a career path, a career change, personal transformation, a creative pursuit? What kind of person do I want to be? Do you want to be more confident, more disciplined, more joyful, more adventurous? If I could design my ideal day, what would it look like? And if I wasn't afraid of failing, what would I go after? One of the biggest mindset shifts in reinvention is realizing that you're not starting from zero, as we said. Everything you've learned, everything that you experience, everything that you've overcome has prepared you for this next step. You are evolving, not erasing. So write down a vision statement of your reinvention. Use the phrase, I am becoming, fill the blanks, and describe who is that you're stepping into. Step number 3 is to take small, consistent action because reinvention happens daily. So often people think reinvention requires a grand, dramatic leap, but the true transformation happens in the small daily choices you make. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by change, focus on micro actions that align with your vision. Want to improve your health? We talked about this the other day. Start with 10-minute morning walks or a nutritious meal a day. Are you considering a career change? Spend 10 minutes a day researching, networking, or learning a new skill. You want to build more confidence? Start by speaking up in one meeting or setting one boundary today. Reinvention is about momentum, not perfection. Every small step you take compounds into real transformation. So here's my call to action on this. Choose one small daily habit that supports your reinvention and start today and commit to it for the next 30. Step number 4 is to surround yourself with growth-minded people. In other words, to build your support system. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, reinvention is often fueled by the people that we surround ourselves with. Think about this. Who is in your circle? Do they inspire you or do they drain you? Do they challenge you to grow or do they keep you stuck in old patterns? Are they living in alignment with the kind of life that you want for yourself? Sometimes the hardest part of reinvention is letting go of relationships that no longer fit. Not out of resentment, but because you're growing in a different direction. So here's my challenge for you. Identify one person who embodies the type of reinvention that you admire. Reach out to them, ask questions, seek guidance. If you're lacking those supportive connections, look for communities, whether online or in-person meetups, through mentorship group, where people are actively pursuing growth. You become like the people you surround yourself with. So choose wisely. And here's a reminder that the invitation is always open for you to join our Leading Yourself Growth community. I will put a link on the show notes if you want to check it out. Okay, the last step I want to share with you today, trust the process. Growth takes time. Just as spring doesn't rush its bloom, your reinvention won't happen overnight. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days, doubt and setbacks will creep in. It's normal. Reinvention is not linear. You might take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The key is to keep going anyway. Remind yourself growth is gradual. Be patient with yourself. Failure isn't the end, it's just feedback. Every misstep teaches you something. You already on your way. The fact that you've even thinking about reinvention means that you're stepping into it. So here's my invitation for you. Practice some self-compassion. Celebrate small wins. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself, I am growing, I am evolving, and my reinvention is happening. Here is a journal prompt for you to think about reinvention. Think about this. If I fully step into my reinvention, how would my daily life look like and feel like? Close your eyes and imagine yourself a year from now. You've embraced this new chapter. You've let go of what no longer serves you. You've taken those small, bold steps towards your vision. What does your daily routine look like? How do you carry yourself differently? What opportunities have you created for yourself? Write it all down. This is your reinvention blueprint. So here's a final thought for you. Spring is proof that growth is always possible. No matter how long you've been stuck in old patterns, you can always start fresh. You don't need permission. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need to begin. This is your season of reinvention if you decide it is. So step into it boldly. Your next chapter is waiting. I hope that this podcast episode inspire you to consider this idea of, is it the right time for me to reinvent myself? And if it is, I hope it gives you some ideas on how you can start that journey of reinvention. Such a powerful journey of personal growth that will lead you into the person you're meant to become. If you like this episode, as always, please share it with a friend that can use a little bit of this motivation and inspiration today. And I hope you have an amazing week, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week on another episode of the Leading Yourself podcast. Okay, my friend, that's all I've got for you today. But before you go, 2 quick reminders. Number 1, if we're not already friends on Instagram, let's get connected. You can find me as Leading Yourself Podcast. Number 2, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am incredibly grateful that you're in this journey with me. I want to leave you with one last thought. I want to remind you that you're destined for more, and that every step that you take brings you closer to becoming that best version of yourself. Embrace each day as a chance to learn, grow, and chase your dreams. The world needs you to shine brightly, so go out and show up fully and authentically. Take care, and I'll see you next time.